So what the Democrats need to do is to vote for a clean, short-term, nonpartisan funding resolution sitting at the desk right now in the Senate. I've showed it to you before, 24 pages long. All they have to do, we pick it up, we vote on it today, we send it to the President signs into law, the government reopens, and then we can be happy to have all the conversations the Democrats want to have about other issues. I think the American people are wondering when the Senate Democrats are going to end their temper tantrum and vote to reopen the government. Every day that goes by, there are more and more Americans who are getting smaller and smaller paychecks, people who work for the federal government. Now, fortunately, the Trump administration has been able to make sure that our troops, our military, gets paid for a while longer, but there are limits to what they can do. And you're already seeing, and I'm sure you're going to see more, there have been thousands of flight delays across the country, and the longer this drags on, the more of that you're going to see. So what the Democrats need to do is to vote for a clean, short-term, nonpartisan funding resolution sitting at the desk right now in the Senate. I've showed it to you before, 24 pages long. All they have to do, we pick it up, we vote on it today, we send it to the President signs into law, the government reopens, and then we can be happy to have all the conversations the Democrats want to have about other issues. But they will have a 9th opportunity today to vote to open the government. They had an 8th opportunity yesterday, and they will have, if necessary, a 10th opportunity to reopen the government tomorrow. All we need are 5 courageous Democrats with a backbone who aren't afraid to buck their leadership, who are marching them right over a cliff. So we're willing to have, as I said, conversations about all the other issues that they want to talk about. But that can't happen while they are holding the federal government and all these federal employees and our troops and our air traffic controllers and our TSA agents and our Border Patrol officials hostage. Open up the government. Every day that this goes on, the problems are compounded for federal workers and for ordinary Americans. Chuck Schumer may think that every day gets better for them politically, but I can tell you that is not the experience of the American people. This needs to end. We can end it today. The bill is sitting at the desk. We're going to get a chance to pick it up and pass it, open up the government, and get to work for the American people.
Leader Thune, good afternoon.
Yes.
Can you characterize why some Republicans are resistant to help boost Obamacare?
Well, I mean, I think that there wasn't a single Republican that voted for Obamacare in the first place. And I think most Republicans believe, and I think the data bears this out, that the enhanced subsidies, the COVID-era subsidies, which, by the way, were set to expire by the Democrats, are a program that is desperately in need of reform. It's going to cost, over the next 10 years, $40 billion a year. And there are no income limits. There are zero premium policies. There are people who don't even know they have coverage. The way the program is structured, the government pays directly, subsidizes insurance companies. Insurance companies are incentivized to go out and enroll more people. They auto-enroll people, which is why so many people don't even know they have coverage. And as a consequence of that, you have people all across the country. And I said, in that marketplace, you can believe this last year, over half of the people never filed a claim. Now, that might mean that they're healthy. Hopefully that's part of the reason. But I think part of the reason is there are a lot of people out there who don't even know they have coverage because they don't pay anything for it, and because the insurance companies get paid directly by the federal government to auto-enroll them.
This is kind of a divide inside your conference, right? There's some who say we have to help people out even though we don't like it, and others saying we fought against this since 2009. Why are we trying to prop up Obama?
Well, and I think that's going to, and you know, that's the conversation that we will have when the time comes. Once we open up the government, is there a path forward that would enable us to make the reforms to address some of the problems I just mentioned with the enhanced premium tax credits. But this cliff was created by the Democrats. They could have fully funded this. They could have funded it for 10 years, but they wanted to prioritize a lot of their Green New Deal policies when they did their reconciliation bill. But there are folks out there who I think see a path forward here. And I said, we're happy to have that conversation, but we can't do it while the government is shut down.
Mr. Leader, the president has talked about using this shutdown to cut what he calls Democrat programs. He said he's going to come out with a list of additional programs he wants to cut. Are you comfortable with him using the shutdown to end run Congress and make these cuts?
Well, I don't think that I'm not comfortable with any of this being done because, as I've said, I don't like government shutdowns. Nobody wins in a government shutdown. And this is a decision, these are decisions, I should say, that are being forced on the administration by the Democrats voting repeatedly, it'll be the 9th time today, to keep the government shut down. Any administration makes decisions in a shutdown, and I've been through a lot of them, with Democrat presidents as well. They are going to prioritize the things that are important to them. When they make decisions about where they're going to allocate money, which departments and agencies are going to get less, which employees are essential, which aren't, those are all decisions that administration is forced to make when they're trying to manage in the middle of a shutdown, which is why it is so important that the Democrats vote to end the shutdown. Then none of these issues that you're asking about become real. But they're real right now to a lot of people because they're getting much smaller paychecks as a result of the Democrats' obstruction.
There are a number of polls showing that more Americans blame Republicans than Democrats for the shutdown. Both those numbers are starting to shift. Why do you think that is, that more blaming Republicans, and how are you thinking about strategically to change the public perception?
Well, and I've seen polls that have a very different conclusion, but as I've said before, this isn't about polls. This is not a political game. Maybe it is for our colleagues on the other side of the aisle who say that this is getting better for us every day. This is not a political game. And the polls, I don't care what the polls say, nobody wins in a government shutdown. The government needs to open up again. And holding it hostage to do stuff like what they're trying to do has just never been done before. I mean, think about it. $1.5 trillion in new spending in their proposal to keep the government open till the end of October. That's $1.5 trillion for 2 weeks to keep the government open. Really? I mean, this stuff is, they are so far over the edge on this. Some of these people, rank and file Democrats who know better, need to walk it back. And as I said, do the courageous thing and open up the government. But, as far as the polls are concerned, I don't think that shouldn't matter to any of us. It's not who wins or who loses in the blame game. It's about the American people who are the ones who are losing if the government stays shut down.
Mr. Leader,
One more.
can you just walk us through your next steps here? Obviously, you've indicated you want to move forward with defense, potentially other appropriations bills. Just talk us through the strategy.
So one of the things that the Democrats and Republicans want to see is a normal appropriations process. We passed 3 bills for the first time in 7 years before the August break. Those 3 bills are available for conference. The House is ready to go to conference on them, so are we. And so we are we're hotlining going to conference on those 3 bills. If we can clear the hotline on both sides, we can go to conference, we can actually get the appropriations process going forward. So that's in the works. Also, I filed yesterday on the defense appropriations bill, which is available, passed the Senate Appropriations Committee 26-3, and it's something that we ought to be moving forward on, and hopefully, if possible, we'd like to attach some other appropriations bills to it and do the same thing we did with the first minibus, and that is, package some bills that we can move at the same time and get the government funded in the traditional way, which is through the annual appropriations process. So that's kind of where we are. Those are the 2 things that are in the works this week, and we'll find out tomorrow whether the Democrats want to proceed to the defense appropriations bill and what other bills we might be able to attach to it if we can get consent to do it.
Mr. Leader,
One more.
The president has discussed a lifeline of $20 billion for Argentina. Do you think that's responsible, especially given the fact that we're in a government shutdown, and do you view that as an America First policy?
I think that it's something along the lines of what he's doing has been done in the past. I mean, previous administrations, if they think there are reasons in the interest of economic stability in areas of the world that are important to us economically, there are previous administrations that have made similar decisions. In this case, my understanding is it's a currency swap, and so it's structured in a way that hopefully will support and give some stability to their economy. And I think the U.S. Has some strategic interests in that region of the world. So, I think it's a decision the administration is making based on precedent that past administrations have used. And I hope that the Argentine economy responds in a way that keeps them a stable economy working in a part of the world where America needs allies. Thank you.
In a sharp address to reporters, Senator John Thune pressed Senate Democrats to end what he described as a temper tantrum and vote to reopen the federal government. He argued that the shutdown is hurting ordinary Americans, with federal employees receiving smaller paychecks and critical services facing increasing strain. Thune pointed to flight delays across the country as one visible example of the growing impact. He noted that the Senate has a clean, short-term, nonpartisan funding resolution ready to be voted on. According to him, the only thing standing in the way is Democratic opposition. He urged at least 5 courageous Senate Democrats to break from their leadership and vote to pass the bill. Thune emphasized that reopening the government would allow for broader policy discussions, but that such negotiations can't happen while federal agencies are shut down. Addressing questions about health care funding, Thune criticized the enhanced Obamacare subsidies, calling them unsustainable and poorly structured. He claimed that many enrollees don't even realize they're covered because they pay nothing and are automatically enrolled by insurance companies. He framed the issue as one that requires reform, but said those conversations can only occur after the shutdown ends. When asked about President Trump potentially using the shutdown to cut Democratic programs, Thune said he does not support government shutdowns, but acknowledged that any administration must make tough funding decisions during such times. He argued that the blame rests on Democrats for repeatedly voting to keep the government closed. Responding to polls indicating more Americans blame Republicans for the shutdown, Thune dismissed the numbers, insisting the situation is not a political game. He accused Democrats of holding the government hostage for $1.5 trillion in additional spending, calling it an extreme demand. Thune then outlined next steps to move forward with defense and other appropriations bills to fund the government through regular processes. He explained that negotiations are underway to advance these bills if Democrats agree. Finally, when asked about a proposed $20 billion currency swap with Argentina, Thune defended the move, noting that similar decisions have been made by past administrations to stabilize key economies. He described it as a strategic decision to maintain economic stability in a region important to U.S. interests.